The history of world aviation has been marked by several mysterious disappearances, including the death of Amelia Earhart in 1937 and the disappearance of 5 Grumman TBF Avenger torpedo bombers in December 1945. The Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, with 239 people on board, has gone missing, and a desperate search is underway for it. Some tales defy explanation, stories that challenge our understanding of the world around us. One such enigma is the eerie flight that landed with 92 skeletons on board. The Santiago Flight 513 case is particularly exhilarating as it reappeared 3 decades after it was lost, unlike other aircraft that never made a comeback. When people hear about the strange case of Santiago Flight 513, they think it's a story from a science fiction movie because no one has been able to explain what happened for years. The amazing story of this fatal trip has been going on the internet. News stories like Pan American Flight 914 takes off in 1955 and lands 37 years later, DC-4 disappeared in 1955 and lands 37 years later, or 1950s airliner lands with 92 skeletons are very attention-getting. All of these names are about the same event that seems to have led to the hit. A Netflix show called Manifest tells the amazing story of this disappearing. The amazing story of this plane was first told in the issue of the Weekly World News newspaper as a shocking piece of news. A newspaper writer named Erwin Fisher wrote a story that was in this rag. In the article, he confirmed the bare facts about a lost Santiago Flight 513. There was a time when no one knew for sure if it was real news or just a shocking scam. The question was whether this was a real flight that went missing or if it was all made up. According to Brazilian aviation authorities, a commercial airliner called Santiago Flight 513 did take off from Aachen, West Germany on September 4, 1954. The plane disappeared over the Atlantic Ocean, and it was never seen or heard from again. For a while, the authorities did a large-scale, but mostly futile search to find out where the plane went. They looked for a long time, but couldn't find a single piece of trash. They also couldn't find any signs of the missing plane or any clues. Most skeptics believe that the inspectors had no choice but to agree that the plane most likely crashed and sank in the Atlantic. All of the people on board died in the sad accident. They think this is a good enough answer, and there's nothing strange about the facts of this terrible event. But that wasn't the end of the story of Santiago Flight 513. Reports say that the missing plane reappeared and was seen circling the airport of Porto Alegre, Brazil, on October 12, 1989. This was soon after the plane landed, and what the authorities found inside was completely strange. Airport officials say that the control tower couldn't get in touch with the missing plane that circled the airport area and finally landed. When air support and security went to check on the plane and opened its doors, they were shocked to see what they saw. They found 92 skeletonized bodies inside the plane. The skeletons belonged to all 88 passengers and 4 crew members. Each one of them was sitting in their seat. Even stranger was the fact that Captain Miguel Victor Curie, the skeletonized pilot of Santiago Flight 513, was sitting in a position where his body was not broken. It looked like he was still holding onto the keys. The staff also saw that the plane was still sitting there, doing nothing. Because of some reason, officials wouldn't say anything about the strange return of Flight 513, and they had no idea where the plane had been in the time it had been missing. When Santiago Flight 513 left Germany 35 years ago, it was supposed to arrive in Porto Alegre 18 hours later, but it never made it there. But when it showed up again on that terrible day in 1989, air traffic control tried to get in touch with the pilot. Many times, but didn't get an answer, which is reasonable since everyone on board was found in perfect health and everything else on the plane was also perfect. Even though 35 years had passed, not a single thing or part of the plane was broken. Paranormal researcher Dr. Celso Atello proposed that Santiago Flight 513 had entered a time warp, but Atello did not have any further explanation for the extraordinary incident. Santiago Airlines allegedly went out of business in 1956, and its executives still don't seem to know much about the mysterious flight. The local government and its agents have extensively investigated the bizarre event, but they refuse to discuss anything about the ghostly airliner or any leads they had found during their investigation. Conspiracy theorists and paranormal enthusiasts believe that government officials swept this case under the rug, clearing out evidence of time warps to scare the public. There have been numerous other reports of pilots losing time and people being teleported thousands of miles away without any rational explanation. There is not much information about Santiago Flight 513 or Pan American Flight 94, and people are inclined to question its legitimacy due to the lack of proper evidence. Theorists are inclined to question whether this engrossing tale was based on a real event, as there have been several creepy locations where aircraft, ships, boats, and even people have gone missing without leaving behind any traces. Some intellectuals believe that certain places possess the ability to form a time portal called a vortex, which is a result of an interaction with the parallel universe. This theory proposes that a vortex opens in another world, which consists of antimatter and can absorb people, masses, or even time and light. People who go suspiciously missing in this world without a trace have been transported to another world within a matter of seconds in our world. Several remote places are famous for unexplained and creepy disappearances and bizarre incidents, such as the Bermuda Triangle, Devil's Sea Zone, and Michigan Triangle. Many people believe that what happened to Bruce Gernon in the Bermuda Triangle might explain why Santiago Flight 513 disappeared and then reappeared. A lot of crazy ideas about what might have happened to it have also come up. Some people who are interested in aliens think that aliens took the plane. One reason in favor of this idea is that there are no records of the plane or its passengers in the years between when they went missing and when they were found again. Time may be warped because the flight showed up again exactly 30 years later. Some people think that the plane crashed on a remote island or got stuck in a deserted part of another country where everyone on board died of hunger or thirst. However, this theory doesn't explain how the pilot got the plane back to where it was supposed to go. Authorities scoured the plane for clues, but aside from the skeletal remains, there was little to go on. The cockpit voice recorder offered no insights, as the last recorded transmission was the pilot's distress call. The black box provided no explanation for the macabre cargo it had carried. Speculation ran rampant in the days that followed. Some theorized that the plane had somehow slipped into a rift in the fabric of space and time, transporting its passengers to another dimension. Others suggested foul play, positing that the passengers had been victims of a mass murder and their bodies placed on the plane to conceal the crime. All of these ideas are very unlikely and hard to understand. Because of this, the parallel dimension theory is the only one that many people think makes some sense. In the past few years, there has been more and more proof that our world is not at all random, as we used to think. In the last few decades, our ideas about time and place have changed a lot. Several studies have found patterns and cycles in the world that don't make sense based on chance. No matter what the truth is about Santiago Flights 513, the disappearance and reappearance of these flights is without a doubt one of the most mysterious events in aviation history. Likely, we will never know what happened to this flight if it was real. The strange case of Santiago Flight 513 has puzzled the world. Despite the best efforts of investigators, the truth behind the flight that landed with 92 skeletons on board remains shrouded in mystery. To this day, it stands as a haunting reminder of the inexplicable events that can occur in the realm of aviation, leaving us to wonder what other secrets may lie hidden in the skies above.